Hey, what's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome to the first of a few F1 2018 game videos here today for all brand new info from the game. I got a hands-on yesterday at the E3 show floor. Unfortunately, no gameplay capture, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but a lot of awesome info. There are some live streams that F1 2018 is going to be on, like IGN and Square Enix, later today, on Wednesday and Thursday. So if there's gameplay from that, I'll be trying my best to bring you that gameplay later on. So do get subscribed if you're around here for that stuff. And also, like I said, a lot of info. So like I said on Twitter, I'm going to be breaking down these kind of info bits into a few different videos because they're all really important bits of info, different areas of the game, and I just don't want any of the info to be lost in like a long ass video, which people might not watch through the entire way. So we're going to break it up. So in today's video, this one right now, we're going to kick things off with handling and the ERS system. Obviously ERS management and the deployment and everything like that, all new to the 2018 game. And the handling itself also completely different to me as well in terms of like new, because the F1 2018 beta is out right now, but obviously I'm here in LA, so I haven't even tried F1 2018 yet. There was no early testing like they've had in the previous 2 years, so it was actually really the first time I even got to try the handling of the game, and certainly is quite different to 2017 in some really good ways. So we'll get into that and also go through the ERS management system, which is all new for this year's game. So when I got to play F1 2018 yesterday, it was on a play seat rig, which wasn't the best because, in my personal opinion, I just can't get a good feel for the game when you're sat in one of those play seat things. I kind of need my home setup to get a real good feel. But straight away, what Lee Mather, whilst he was talking me through essentially what was going on with the game and what's new into it in terms of the physics and the handling, I could also see that visually was the curbing. They've changed the curbing, the way the suspension works completely. So on 2018 now, they've got a new suspension system. I think Lee mentioned 1,000 hertz. They've like upped it up to, which I'm sure someone smarter will like realize what that means essentially. But what that meant in real terms is that when you go over the curbs now, there's a lot more reactiveness to it. They really want to chuck you off now, whereas in 2017, the force feedback had improved drastically from 2016 to 2017. That was very apparent that you could feel the car was actually on the road, especially at tracks like Japan where it was really bumpy. You could really feel it. But in 2018 now, the curbings themselves now are so much more refined. So in corners like the flat out right-hander in at the very beginning of Sector 2, or at the end of Sector 1 I should say, in Australia, the flat out right-hander where they're flat out in quali and you have to lift off a little bit in the race, there's that big sausage curb, which usually on 2017 you could put the entire car over the curb and be completely fine. On 2018 now, when you do that, it really starts to chuck you off a little bit, skid you off, send you a little bit wide. And also when dipping a tire into the grass and the gravel, I felt it was a little bit more slippery perhaps from 2017, but definitely the curbing was the big difference. And not just the big sausage curbs like that one in Australia, also just the normal rumble strip curbing just felt a little bit more kind of, you're having more of an impact on the actual steering wheel itself whilst you were driving. So now moving on to the ERS system, because really, like I said, that's pretty much the only kind of impression I can get from the handling. The play seat setup there wasn't really the best for me personally to get a real overall thing. I'm sure down the line with the beta, running through, eventually there'll be a lot more kind of insight into the actual handling itself. But the other thing, the major thing, was the ERS. So there are 5 modes. Off the top of my head, the 5 different modes were none, low, medium, overtake, and hot lap mode. So very interesting to see that there's a none mode in there, because I thought it might have just been a sliding scale from low to high for when you're wanting to kind of save the battery up to your hot lap in quali. But to see the no part, basically none of the ERS being deployed, kind of also suggests maybe down the line. I couldn't really get a confirmation from Lee because he wasn't really too sure if it was in the build we're playing, but there might perhaps be a lot of work maybe to do with the ERS reliability in races when you're going like the distance in career mode. But anyway, so 5 different modes. None all the way to hot lap. Really good to see there was a hot lap one as well. And the way it was displayed was on the bottom right hand side. You have the heads up display. I'll kind of show a picture of the F1 2017 one. I'll try and maybe just do a little bit of a doodle to kind of to try and show you guys a little bit. Obviously I'm here in a hotel room, a little bit of a makeshift setup on a laptop, so I'll try my best. But essentially there was a draining battery screen on the very bottom of the heads up display on the right corner. So that displayed your battery store and if you are harvesting or deploying essentially. And it was like the fuel system. You could just toggle through the different settings of none, low, medium, overtake, and hot lap mode. And so good to see that with those 5 different modes, you can effectively now go for overtakes, use the overtake mode. If you're in quali, obviously you're using the hot lap, and that's going to be really interesting for if you do the qualifying. You go through the actual drive out stage of qualifying. Now you're going to want to, just like in real life, like the real drivers do, you're going to want to save the ERS, maybe put it into none mode, and on the outlap you're going to be wanting to save the battery and let it harvest up, and then put it into hot lap mode right as you go on the lap. So I thought that was really cool, little detail like that to really make sure it's kind of like real life, where you have to save it up, and then the hot lap mode, I'm assuming, just drains the battery so much through the entire lap, or even more rapidly. Maybe you can only have it on hot lap mode for a little bit of the lap, and you have to go to overtake mode then potentially. But yeah, you can use overtake mode to then overtake, go low to kind of defend as well. Whilst you're defending, you might want to go overtake mode as well. But definitely a lot of management needed, and that is also going to be part of the R&D. So you can also upgrade the ERS and determine how efficient it's going to be in the career mode in terms of how it maybe deploys, how it harvests. So that was good to see as well. Just adding another element to the R&D system, which R&D system was really great in F1 2017. A lot of stuff to actually upgrade, and this just adds more stuff to kind of think about in terms of what you're going to upgrade in the game as you go through the career mode progression. And like I said, also I mentioned for like online stuff for the handling, the ERS is a huge game changer in terms of like drivers defending from one another, and just the management aspect of that, adding that on as another aspect in that entire kind of realm of the game. Let's also talk about managing the tires now. So in this year's game, that you're going to have to also manage the tire temperatures. So Lee mentioned that the tire temperatures are a lot more sensitive, and you want to kind of keep them under control. So straight away now, thinking about it, it's almost kind of like harking to the kind of, if you've seen any kind of videos of Motorsport Manager, if you've seen my series on Motorsport Manager, controlling the tire temps is really quite important. So on this year's game, I don't know how important it's going to be, but Lee thought it was important enough to mention it in the little hands-on kind of preview, that the tire temps are going to be a little bit more important now. They've actually modeled the way the tire temps fluctuate. You're going to want to try and keep hold of that maybe. And then finally, the AI. So the AI have improved, and we've been told, and actually saw a little bit in my hands-on, because I was going through practice and I was actually trying to overtake, I think it was Kevin Magnussen. And so the AI now will move to the middle of the circuit, and they will start to drift over to the inside or the outside, depending on how they want to play it. They will drift across the circuit to try and block you off when you're trying to overtake. And if you now dive it down the inside, cough, I don't know who does that, I can't think. If you dive it down the inside, do a My Driver S dive, the cars will now, the AI we've been told, will not hesitate to turn in on you and try and block you off, try and cut you off like they do in real life. In the hands-on, I didn't really get a chance to see that in full action, but to just even have that kind of, information confirmation that hopefully the AI will be a lot more aggressive is really good to see, because I think that it was very, very clear over the entire last year on F1 2017. A lot of you guys, especially after watching my videos of me diving down the inside of AI and having maybe an easier overtake than maybe would have been desirable, it's good to see now they're kind of rectifying that issue, and they're kind of listening to that kind of part, specifically of when it comes to making the overtake happen. It's not just a case of make the AI go faster. It's kind of more to do with how they're coded in their racecraft, because you can have fast AI but also not have raceable AI that are kind of good at racecraft and will try and block. Like, they can be just flat out faster than you, but it doesn't really help when you get to a point when you want to overtake them. That's nothing to do with how fast they are. It's just about their racecraft and the way they think about the kind of space around them. So really good to see that they will drift off. Let's say you're slipstreaming, so you maybe want to start going to the inside. They might also pull to the inside and block you off and preempt your dive bomb down the inside, just like they would in real life. And we've seen so many times now, especially since the 2017 regulations came in, the higher aero just seems like drivers nowadays are so much more aggressive at cutting drivers off. And finally, on a gameplay perspective, not really gameplay, but visual gameplay, I guess you could say, is going to be, so obviously the Halo is in 2018. That's something they can't change. It's part of the F1 regulations. They have to have it in the official F1 game. But one thing they have done is in Cockpit Cam cam now, if you remember, if you've seen any kind of mod videos of the cockpit on an F1 car with a halo, you'll notice obviously the middle stalk is quite apparent, and unfortunately in real life it doesn't really translate to the game. In real life you get that depth of field basically where you can almost look past the object. Like if you put your kind of hand in front of your face, you can kind of see through it almost due to your two perspective eyes kind of looking at different angles, whereas in a game it's a flat screen, you don't get that kind of view. So to try and rectify that and allow the player to kind of see a bit more than they would do with just a kind of essentially bit blocked off with black pixels, in the cockpit mode there's the option to remove the middle stalk. So you still have the overbearing halo, but the middle stalk is taken away. So that's an option in Cockpit Cam. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's good to see that Liberty Media and F1, I guess, gave them the go-ahead, because I think that would be quite a contentious point, because that's not something they can do in real life, obviously. So I kind of like the fact that Liberty Media and Cody's were able to kind of do that, at least, to kind of have a bit of compromise between the fact that it is a real issue that you don't have that depth of field in a flat screen. So that's definitely an issue I already kind of saw when I did a VR video on Assetto Corsa. You know, that was very apparent that you can't really see past it. So good to see they can do that. And so for those of you who are in Cockpit Cam, will have that kind of thing. Obviously, in TCam mode, that will still be there. Unfortunately, they can't remove that. That's part of the sport, part and parcel. You know, I think a lot of us are getting used to it on the TCam in real life, so kind of just have to get used to it in the game. But yeah, that's going to be this video then today, guys, on the handling and the ERS deployment mode. Like I said, there's going to be maybe 2-3 more videos later today about different other areas of the car of the game. I just thought I'd split it up instead of making one long, really quite long video, because there's a lot of info. Like I had a hands-on and like an interview with Lee. I recorded the interview on audio, came back to the hotel, kind of wrote down all the info on like cue cards. So there's a lot of stuff to go through. So be sure to get subscribed to the channel if you're new around here, and even if you're already subscribed, just be sure to check back on the channel a bit later today. There'll be like 2-3 videos, like I said, on just all the other stuff that's going to be in the F1 2018 game when it comes to career mode. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video and found it informative, then hit that like button. Let me know what you thought of all that stuff that I've just talked about in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time in the next video, probably pretty shortly later today. So yeah, till then guys, hope you enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Guy.